Hello guys, I've been gone for a while. I know my last video I posted it Thanksgiving Day, but then I got sick, and so my throat was all messed up. It's still a little bit messed up, but that's why I haven't been making videos. But I am excited for this video today. I am so sorry, it is not gameplay. This is actually, I'm going to be showing a project I've been working on both while I was sick and even before. And that project is the Revolution's rework for Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. I don't know what I just did. Let me just undo that. There we go. Revolution's rework for Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. So, the developers had been slowly reworking each of the revolutions to just make them, like, more diverse, basically. Not so one-trick pony, a little bit better for, like, late game, not just fully just only all in, like strategies. Like nowadays you can do a revolt and you're not dead if your opponent gets age 5, that kind of thing. So, but as we saw with the, what was it, the Peru Revolution, they sometimes make strange choices, sorry, I just had to fix something, with their, like, design decisions for the revolts. Very, very Inca heavily revolt is what they made it. It's, nowadays, the way they changed it, it's literally just all about just straight up, Incan units, pretty much. The Harakas, you can get the fortress, the Incan fortress, which you can train Incan units from and stuff. And while it's actually fairly powerful, you can get, with this revolt right now, you can get like 7.5 speed Rottaleros with Imperial Harakas that you can unction to back them up. And it's actually quite strong. It's just weird. Like, if I wanted to play Inca and be anarchist, and I forget how you say it, but like, it just doesn't fit right into a revolution. Now, there was revolts among the, like, Concha is how I'm going to say it. Quencho or whatever. I'm not quite sure how it is. But among, like, the people who are descended from the Incans, there was revolts among them. They weren't, like, just all-out, full Incan revolts. Now, there were earlier ones that were a lot more like that, but that's just not what... that's not what really this Peru revolt I felt like should represent. And also a lot of people, even people from Peru, thought that as well. And there's like weird and bad design choices, I think, for a lot of the other revolutions, specifically focused on some of the outlaw things, some of the outlaw, like, a lot of revolts are very surrounding this outlaw build that I just don't like. It feels like they're trying to make the armies feel scrappier than they were. Now, there were a lot of revolutions with very scrappy armies, not very, like, professional, but there was also a lot that, I mean, they were very, very well organized and stuff like that. So I hope to kind of, hopefully maybe fix some of that, while also making these revolts more balanced. Argentina right now is almost busted. I would say it's kind of OP. Argentina is right now. Now, actually, what I do here might not fix it, but I think it might slow things down a little bit so they're not so crazy. Argentina is really hard to balance for with the Mounted Grenadier, but I'll explain that a little bit later. Finland's, like, good to use, but they tried to give you, they tried to give you some late game ability with cards that enable Imperial upgrades for this unit or that unit, but it just doesn't feel right. The having to rely on this eco where you ship, infinite 1500 resource crates or ship deer or whatever, it doesn't feel right to me. It's very strange, although I will say I'm really thankful for some of the things they added to the Finland Revolt, because just searching up those things and the nice tie-ins they did there to, like, point to history, I was able to go to those historic things and I hope maybe better represent them. I don't want y'all to think that I just think that all the revolutions are terrible. No, I love using them. And some of them I think are fairly good, but could use more. I think they're fairly good though. But some of them, as I said, I just don't agree with, and I think they could be better designed. So I'm about halfway through. So from Argentina to Haiti, I have done and reworked. I've written out the design. I have tried to learn modding some. I'm really, really bad at it. It does not come at all natural to me. Actually, general computer stuff doesn't come natural to me. If you need help fixing something, I'm honestly not the person to ask. Although I do enjoy, a good game of Age of Empires. But, I hope that with this, that showing this, then these designs, I don't even necessarily mean, like, someone come, I'm looking for people who would like to help mod this or make this into a mod, or people who would like to help design it, because, like I said, I'm only halfway through the revolts, I think, and, I'm sure some of my design choices are bad, probably some things are OP or whatever, so if you would like to help design these, and especially help mod, because, none of this is really worth anything if we can't get someone who can actually put this into the game, except for my own fun. I have enjoyed just making this and, researching the revolutions themselves. I've just enjoyed that. So, even if nothing comes of this, it was fun. But I do hope that this can become an actual thing. So, if you would like to help with it, just let me know. I am on Discord. But I think that's enough setup. I think I just want to get into this. So here we go. So Argentina was my first one. I want to say first, this is a lot, so I need to set up a little more. There's a lot of stuff I added here with a lot of historical tie-ins here or there or whatever, and I can't, this would take forever if I explained every historical tie-in in this video. So I want to, in this video, explain my gameplay designs, and why, because I tried to make each of the revolts kind of unique to each other, in a special way, but I kind of wanted to, if this does become a thing, I'll go through and explain all my historic references and stuff, and make a video about each revolt separately, if I can get someone who would like to mod, or several people who like to mod and could put something like this into the game. So this is just gameplay, basically. I'll be explaining here, not all the historical references, although I'll mention some. Especially when I find something particularly bad. So Argentina ships 5 gauchos and 10 fattened cows. That the only difference between that and the game, the one that's in game, is it's 10 gauchos right now. But I have reworked gauchos. I've reworked all those kind of outlaw units. I'll showcase that. So gaucho, mounted cavalry, gaucho mounted. So the gaucho will have a mounted and a dismounted version. And there's historical reasons why I chose that, but there's also a fun little gameplay thing, I think, that'll be here. So, Gaucho, the mounted version, cavalry, light cavalry, ranged cavalry, gunpowder cavalry, native warrior. Costs 220 food. Is 0 pop, but it has a build limit of 20. So, basically, it will be, like, when you age up, you'll gain access to a popless native unit. So all these here will be base stats based on if it was age 2. So when you gain access to it, age 4, it'll actually be a lot better than this, than what these stats show. But this is, like, the base numbers that everything will be multiplied from. So, like, age 3, it'll be 20% better from age 3, 30% better from age 4. So it'll be 50% better, not counting any upgrades you might have. So HP is 220, the range of this is 30, the speed is 7.25. Very basic Dragoon things. It has a charged bolas attack with 8 range, 25 attack, 2.5 versus heavy cavalry, and 0.5 versus civils. It will also snare. So right now, the Gaucho is a one-pop unit that can... It's one of the best dragoons in the game, except its animation for its throwing its bolus isn't very good. So that's what sets it off, and its snares. It's very, very strong, easily massable. What this does, what I'm doing here is basically... I couldn't find a whole lot of evidence that they use bolus a lot for fighting. Or I found that I found evidence that they did. Here I am going into a historical explanations. Well, they use bolus some, but it wasn't like their main weapon. So their main weapon is going to be... they're going to have the charge bolus attack to keep that there. But their main attack is going to be a ranged attack using a rifle or pistol or whatever. It'll be 12 range, 20 attack, 2.5 versus heavy cavalry, and 0.5 versus Vils. And then they'll have a lance melee attack. So when you send them to hand attack, they'll use a spear. And it'll be 12 attack and 3.5 versus heavy cavalry. I put this here, someone mentioned it that they use lancers. But they did use that, but they also used some other weapons. But lance was pretty common back then for the Spanish the South American wars of independence. There was a lot of lance usage. And then its ability is that it can dismount, becoming the Montanero. That's actually not anymore. I think I'll just call it the dismounted Gaucho. Montanero is going to be something else later, so that's not accurate anymore. So Gaucho dismounted. When it dismounts, it becomes a musketeer infantry with an emphasis on hand attack, because here we go to explain historic references. I found some references to the fact that the Gauchos really like to get up close and personal when they fought, and they also had a fancy knife that was one of their favorite things. So that's why I went with the unique focus on the hand attack part of this. So HP is 180, 20% RR. This is so it can get up close and personal when it to do its charged melee attack. So it will have like a musket gun for when it's attacking a unit. So you'll have to manually set your guys to melee mode, and then they'll go up and attack with their charged melee attack. So the charged melee attack is 30 damage, 2x versus heavy infantry, 0.5 versus Vils, ignores armor. So it'll be like a straight 60 damage versus like a musketeer. So if you have all 20 of these dudes and they catch off like a group of musketeers off guard, you melee them and they will just shred like a group of musketeers or even halberdiers or whatever. So that was the idea behind that. The 20% RR might change. There's none of this is like set. A lot of this would have to be changed during playtesting, but that's whatever. Oh, excuse me. Like I said, I still got some messed up. And their melee attack is just a straight 20 with no multipliers versus anything. So after they use their charged attack, they're just going to be musketeers with a hand attack that has no multipliers and okay siege. It can also enter stealth. Now the idea for that is that that's what they often did. They snuck around and did things like that. So that's why. So gameplay wise, overall the Gaucho, it'll be a good ranged cav who can dismount and basically become like an assassin for a heavy infantry, and even probably wreck some Vils too, even with the 0.5 versus Vils on the charged attack. So it's kind of a unique, I think it's a very unique unit, nothing like this in the game. But I'll move on from it. The Mounted Grenadaro. So I said I wouldn't explain the historical things, but I have to on this. This was something I just found so bad. So the Mounted Grenadaro in-game right now is a 2-pop heavy range cav, light range cav, heavy cav, grenade throwing. It's weird. I don't know why it is how it is right now. I understand the developers, anything that has the word grena anything Grenada or whatever. Like the Grenadier, they think that means it must throw grenades. But while there's historical reasons, the Grenadier did actually originally throw grenades, even though later in the game they really didn't. The mounted Grenaderos are later in the game when Grenadiers weren't really throwing grenades. And specifically the mounted Grenaderos, I looked, I couldn't find any reference to them actually throwing grenades. They were a heavy cavalry, basically, or an elite cavalry, whatever you want to call it. So I very much changed them, and I basically turned them into a sort of. Sorry, my brother came in just a second. Into a cuirassier that with like less AOE damage, but a charged attack. So it's a cavalry, a heavy cavalry, and a hand cavalry. So its cost is 130 food, 130 coin, and it is 3 pop. So Gendarmes or the cuirassiers are 150 food, 150 coin. That becomes less. I don't know the exact number for after it gets the card that makes cuirassiers cheaper. But that's the basis. 430 HP. I think that's slightly less than the cuirassier. It's been a while since I was working on Argentina, but I think that should be slightly less than the cuirassier. 20% RR, 6.5 speed, which is pretty slow for a cav, but it does have a charged lance attack of 80 that has an AoE of 2, and then its normal melee attack is 42 with an AoE of 1. Now this is an age 3 based. This was right at the start, so this, if this would probably get changed more so than other things along here would, because this is right at the start. I wasn't quite used to the designing things. But the basic plan is a charged lance attack, because they did use lances, and then otherwise they'll use a sword and have a slight melee attack. AoE of 1 on the siege attack is completely unnecessary. So, cuirassier that has lower AoE, slightly higher damage, and a charged attack, basically, is the plan for them. I think it's unique. I think it's something... There's not a unit like this in the game, I don't believe. The only thing I can think is like the... I forget what they call them, but a merc unit. But this is... I think this is special. And it's not something that... and it's more accurate. That was the biggest thing. Actually, let me explain this. It is more accurate, yes, than the one we have now. I'm sure it's not perfectly accurate. It's hard to perfectly represent what units were in real life into the game. But I want to explain the gameplay reason. Like, there's not just the historical reason that this unit needs change, there's the gameplay reason. And that is this unit snowballs way too quickly. I have made a video on the Argentina revolt in the late game, and if you watch that, as you see, once these guys get into mass, the mounted Grenaderos we have now, they're crazy. You get them and gauchos together, and there's nothing that kills them. They're like a death ball. So the problem with them is that in small groups, they're terrible. You have 5 to 10, they're not really any good. But once you get 20 or more, they just start steamrolling, because they do flat damage. They have the grenade attack that like grenadiers have, but they have no negative multipliers. So cavalry, ranged cavalry, hand infantry, ranged infantry, anything, it just melts. Now it does get melted by all those things because it has every tag in the game pretty much, but even so, it's just too much. It's too much. And you can't really balance the revolt that way, because it's too weak right away, but it scales too quickly into becoming an unkillable death ball. So the unit's not really balanceable right now. And so that's that's also why I changed it, other than just the historic reason. Okay, then we got the Blandingus. I'm sure I'm going to say so many things wrong, guys. It's a cavalry, light cavalry, ranged cavalry, gunpowder cavalry. Cost is NA because it's not really a unit that costs anything. Or you can't like train it. It's like a militia. And it is 1 pop. Its HP is 160, 30% RR, 7 speed. Its ranged attack. It has 14 range, 22 damage, 4x versus artillery. and its melee attack is 10 with 4x versus artillery. So you'll see later how you gain access to this through a card, but is basically a militiaman who's on a horse. So it'll be specifically good against artillery. So cards, land grab, ranching, stockyards, all of those are already in here. Argentina is going to have a very ranching-focused economy. Blandingus of the Frontier, this is new. Blandingus right now, Blandingus, I don't know how you say it. Blandingus right now is a card in the game, and it makes your hand cavalry cheaper. And when looking and researching this, that kind of works, but I think this is better. So I changed it to Blandingus of the Frontier. Enables you to levy Blandingus from the town centers and forts. So, kind of like the Canada one, any town center you have, any fort you'll be able to call these guys out once in like a group of 5, I think. So that could be OP in certain things, in like certain modes, because that might be a little bit broken in certain modes, because if you have like 3 forts and 4 town centers or whatever, that's a bunch of populous units you could call up, but you could make it work like the USA one, where you can't call them out if you don't have pop. So that would be the way to balance that. Cattle drivers, mounted Granaderos. I changed that to ships 8 mounted Granaderos because it shipped mounted Granaderos and cav, which mounted Granaderos and cows, which is a little bit weird. And so it just ships mounted Granaderos and less and no cows. So ships 8, that could probably be 7. This is an age 4 unit, so I was thinking like cuirassiers. I think you can ship 6 of them age 4. So this could probably be lowered down to 7. Argentine mortars removed. Argentine mortars was the card that gave you Imperial mortars. I found no historical reason. Maybe it's out there. I couldn't find one. I couldn't find a reference to why this was in the game on Wikipedia. I couldn't find any historical reference to the fact that Argentina especially used mortars. So I just figure remove that. Trattoria, Buenos Aires, I changed just a little bit. New ships, 1 cathedral, and 3 Lombard wagons. Enables you to build Lombards. Still showing that Italian influence in Argentina, but I forget what this was before. It was a little bit different. But oh well. Customs House new enables the building of a capital and the researching of certain capital text. So hero and coin text there you'll be able to get at the capital. And there is no decreased costs. Like Brazil, it's a card that enables the capital. It allows Imperial Age upgrades for cheaper. This is not cheaper. It's just enables. It'll enable just the hero tax and the coin gathering tax. So your economy for Argentina will be ranching and then coin, basically. Infinite to horse artillery replaces infinite 4 Gatlings. I don't like the whole infinite 4 Gatlings things in the game. It just doesn't feel right. And infinite to horse artillery I think is just better. Anyway, I don't know where they got the idea that all these revolutions just use so many Gatling guns. But I did remove that. Infinite 16 revolutionaries, infinite 2 ironclads removed, and you'll see, you should see why later. Infinite 1 fort wagon, I might change that into something else. The infinite fort wagons just are a little bit lamey. So I tried to remove them where I could, and I'll probably end up removing them all and change them for other things. Textile mills is new. That is a... Let me think. I think that's a coin upgrade. Infinite 3 mortars is still there. Even though they're not... There's no reason for that they should be Imperial, I don't think. There's no reason they shouldn't have access to them at all. Higher Italian Elementi removed. Higher low bombards removed. So the reason for that is While I understand they wanted to show Italian influence through the Elmedi and little bombards, Elmedi and little bombards in like the New World being used in these revolutions, I couldn't find any evidence of that. Now, again, maybe they very well, the developers could have done way better research than me and found reasons for this, but I didn't. Criollos, I know I said that wrong, I'm sorry. Ships 22 musketeers and researches their guard upgrade, costs 1,000 food. Right now, Criollos ships Spanish musketeers, which are basically Royal Guard musketeers, and enables you to train them at the fort. And it causes all sorts of problems. Then you have 2 musketeer units that look like exactly the same. And one of them you can't even train from your barracks. So I just... this is basically just changing that and fixing it up. So you ship this, you get your guard musketeers, and it ships guard musketeers as well. The food cost probably could be increased, but that's just something you'd have to figure out later. Outlaw band, leaving that in. Infinite 4 mounted grenadiers replaces infinite 7 lancers. San Martin, I think that's how you say it. Someone corrected me. It's not San Martin. It's not San Martin. It's San Martin, I think, or something like that. Ships 8 mounted grenadiers, 10 guard dragoons, and San Martin. Ships cost 1,000 coin. The mounted grenadiers could probably be less, and the cost could probably be increased, but I'm just going to leave that for now. The Barbary states, and that's it for Argentina. So very cav-focused, a little bit of a kind of a sneaky assassin theme with the gaucho, and then ranching and coin gathering focused. Barbary states ships 10 Corsair marksmen, and all your settlers become Barbary warriors. Replaces your caravels with galleys and enables you to train galleys at the docks. Units, Corsair marksmen, Barbary warriors, Corsair captains. All those units are fine as they are, so they'll be left as they are. This is actually a revolt I probably changed the least with. Just because I couldn't find anything super wrong with it, and it felt pretty fine. There's a few things I changed, though. Cards, Sail Rovers change. Ships 1 Xebec and 10 pirates. This shipped Barbary warriors used to, but from what I found about Sail Rovers, they were European. So I thought 10 pirates worked better. Infinite, recruit Xebecs. Those are just shipments of Xebecs. Infinite 1 Fort Wagon. Infinite 16 Corsair Marksmen. Infinite 16 Barbary Warriors. Infinite 3 Falcons. Dima, this is the card that enables villagers. I changed it to ships a few less settlers, but increase the trickle. Loyal Warriors, Outlaw Combat, Corsair Captain, Air Barbers, 15 Berber Allies, Team 4s and Auto Riders. And I added infinite 500 food, 500 wood, 500 coin. So that's like the Age 4 Haudenosaunee card basically added to this revolt. Because thematically, the idea is that they're going to be very raid focused. I think I might... I thought I did, but I think I might add a card to where you get coin for killing units, because it kind of makes sense. The idea being that a lot of the Corsairs, the Barbary states, economy was very slave focused. So the idea being that when you kill a unit or whatever, basically. Like you get a chance of getting coin. The idea being that maybe you sold that unit into slavery or whatever, which I understand why they don't want to add slavery to the game. But that's just what the Barbary states were. That's a lot of what they were. So that's why. Brazil. Moving on, Brazil. Ships 20 Voluntarius da Patria. Settlers become Voluntarius da Patria, and Voluntarius da Patria will automatically spawn from your TCs. So this unit is going to be changed from like a terrible revolutionary. So I hate the Brazil's one of my least favorite revolts right now, just because the spawning of like these super weak garbage revolutionaries, just I don't like it. They're so bad, and they don't spawn fast enough to really be any good. So I changed them from garbage revolutionaries to basically ruskets. So they're gonna have the same damage, hit points, attack, whatever as ruskets. But when you revolt, all your musketeers will basically become these units. So it'll give you the Age 4 upgrade. So it'll be Age 4 ruskets you'll instantly gain access to. Units: Voluntaries da Patria, Yogunko, I don't know how to say that, and Independence Dragoon. So the Voluntaries da Patria will be infantry, heavy infantry, gunpowder infantry, musket infantry. Cost in A, because you won't actually be able to you won't be able to train these. Will just spawn automatically from your TC. So no, it actually won't do your guard upgrade. This will just enable guard, like you to spawn guard ruskets, or recruits as they're now called. You'll still be able to train the other musketeers. The stats here are just the rusket ones, but obviously when you gain access to them, they won't be this bad. They will be Age 4 level. This could probably be changed to 10. That might be just a little bit too strong, but that's whatever. And then the Hajunko is how I'm going to say it, Hajunko. Cavalry, heavy cavalry, light cavalry, ranged cavalry, outlaw. Cost 2 on food, 2 pop. It's basically, I'm changing it from a 1 pop anti... Right now it's a bad rifle rider. That's 1 pop, and I'm going to change it to a 2 pop rifle rider that's slightly closer to more what the rifle rider is, although it won't be quite as good. So range is at 12, 30 damage, 3x versus heavy infantry, 3x versus heavy cavalry, 2x versus hand shock infantry, 3x versus hero units. The hero units part is because I found that they were used as like assassins, so I'd actually be okay with also, or they were sometimes hired as like assassins, so I'd okay with that being hero and merc units, but that would just have to be something decided later. Melee attack 15, same multipliers as range attack, siege attack 20. Pretty straightforward. I think it'll just be basically just a slightly worse rifle rider. The 30 damage is probably too much. I'm not sure where I got that from. That should be lower. That looks about like Age 4 stats. This does. So it might have to be changed. I'm pretty okay with the 15 melee attack because 3x versus heavy infantry and melee just isn't that bad if you have 15 damage. Or than like OP when you have 15 damage. This will probably get tweaked some, but overall, I think it's fairly good. Independence Dragoon, Cavalry, Light Cavalry, Range Cavalry, Gunpowder Cavalry. Cost 1 or food, 1 or coin. So this is just going to be a lot like it is now, which is the Independence Dragoon. What it is now is it takes away all the hand attack multipliers and gives you just increased hand attack. So basically, yeah, they're just like Dragoons with way better hand attack. So to not make them busted, I increase their food and coin costs. When you get the Independence Dragoon upgrade, they'll go up to 100 food, 100 coin, rather than 90 food, 90 coin. Range attack, just standard Dragoon stuff. Melee attack, 28, that's what it is now. When you get this, at least like based off of Age 3 stats. So it's just a Dragoon with higher hand attack. Cards: Vitorias, Town Militia, Land Grab, Rio de Janeiro, Amazonia, Banderantes, Cattle Drivers, Yojunkos, Hajunkos, ships 10 cows and 5 Yojunkos. That's the same card as it is now, but it ships 5 instead of 10 Hajunkos. So, but it ships 5 instead of 10 because they're twice as good as they are now. Wildlife ships 20 capybaras. That's changed. That's changed just a little bit. Okay. Where am I? I changed that just a little bit to where am I? I got off. To instead of ship right now it ships like some Jaguars and stuff, but I think just a flat 20 capybaras is funnier and more fun. Baha'i change ships 2 church wagons enables and adds 2 to your build limit. Right now this ships conquistadors, and while I understand the reason for that, and it costs resources, the conquistadors this late into Brazilian history doesn't make sense to ship them. Even sure, yes, there was Jesuits in Brazil, but it doesn't really make sense to ship conquistadors this late. Brazilian importers, Beneficio. Infinite 2 horse artillery replaces infinite 4 Gatlings. And infinite and Imperial Navy, this will replace the infinite 2 ironclads. Ships 1 ironclad enables the building of advanced warships, including slopes, steamers, and ironclads. So basically, this will be turning your Navy into like the U.S. Navy. It'll just be because that was basically what the Brazilian Navy was that I found. It was more of an advanced Navy than like frigates, old wooden frigates and stuff like that. There's probably some more you could do with this, but I didn't want to focus too much on water. So you might change that. Infinite 1 fort wagon, infinite 2 covered wagons, Meniscarius. Dragos da Independencia replaces Guard of Honor. That's the card that enables and changes your Dragoons to Independence Dragoons and enables them. Costs 1,000 coin. Ships 10 Independence Dragoons and replaces your Dragoons with Independence Dragoons. Enables them to be trained. So one of the problems with this card right now is basically for it to be useful, you will have to have had a big group of Dragoons. But what it does now is it basically does the same thing, except it ships some Dragoons with it. Imperial Honor Guard. So later they were changed from their name basically just changed. They became a little more official, kind of, or their job got changed a little bit. So to represent that, I have Imperial Honor Guard new, costs 1,000 coin, 1,000 wood, upgrades Independence Dragoons to Imperial Independence Dragoons. Which you cannot right now get your Independence Dragoons to age 5. So this will just give them the age 5 upgrade. Which I don't think will be too busted. But that'll be part of testing. If this ever comes to testing. Donatarios, infinite 10 guard Castadors, infinite 6 guard Soldados, infinite 15 blowgunners, and all that. That's all the same. My throat's starting to hurt a little bit, so that's why I might skip some stuff. Canada. Your settlers gain a powerful attack instead of becoming revolutionaries. Units met as Pathfinders / met as Voyagers, Canadian Light Dragoon, Fencibles, Canadian Voltigeurs, Black Watch. So the villager will be the same as now. This new kind of unit will be the Canadian Light Dragoons. And it'll be a Dragoon with less HP. It's just going to be a Dragoon with less HP, slightly faster though, and have a higher ranged attack, as well as I think range. So yeah, 14 range there. So they'll be able to get up to 16. So it's basically a slightly weaker HP, but faster, and just more like attack focused. Fencibles, same as they are now. Canadian Voltigeurs, Infantry, Light Infantry, Ranged Infantry, Gunpowder Infantry, Rifle Infantry. So they're basically going to be a skirmisher, but they'll have 22 range. And slightly higher damage. So a lot of what I'm doing with the Canada Revolt here is just making it so their units thing is like being higher range and slightly higher damage. Cards: Conscription, Pioneers, Fur Trade, Spice Trade, Wilderness Warfare, Fencibles, Infinite 7 Grizzlies, Infinite 15 Elks, Team Great Buffalo Hunt, Hunted Bay Colony, Infinite 14 Blackwatch, Infinite 16 Musketeers, Infinite 12 Canadian Voltigeurs will replace the Infinite 12 Skirmishers and 12 Rangers, Infinite 4 War Dragoons, Quebec, Infinite 10 Villagers, and then all this is the same except Infinite 10 Canadian Light Dragoons will replace the Canadian Loyalist card. So that'll be a shipment of 10 Dragoons for 1,000 food. Although that could probably be less than like 500. This is the Canadian Loyalist is actually a card that Hada and Oshoni have. but it'll be going to the Canadian one. And it is actually already there. They're like, right now they're just Royal Guard Dragoons, but this is going to be changing them just a little bit. Native Warrior conscription is removed because right now, with all the you can get so many native allies with Canada for like literally 50 resources. They get so cheap with having Native Warrior conscription and the Native Warrior card, so it's crazy. So I'm gonna remove that. Yeah, they're right now they're kind of crazy how cheap they are. Chile grants 8 Hussars of Death, which clear all in their path. Units Hussars of Death San Martin. The Hussar of Death, same it is now, but with spears, not sabers. They did use spears, so that's why. But actually, I'm actually going to talk about this a little bit. The Hussar of Death, when I was doing research on it, I found out something disappointing. They did basically nothing. Like, after a battle had been won, a guy created them, and they sat around and looked cool in the city. And then at the battle, at the only battle they participated in, they sat at the back. And I found a reference that said some people think or whatever, or it was like some whatever say that they attacked this group of units. So the Hussars of Death really basically seemed like they did nothing. After the battle was won is when they actually started fighting. They just fought like a small group who had hidden up in a hill. So that was really disappointing. I'm going to keep them. I might change some things there to make them where they do come as a shipment, but you can't train them. But yeah, it was very, very disappointing. But that's whatever. Cards advanced. All this is the same. Oh, what did I do? All this is the same. Infinite 2 horse artillery replaces 4 Gatlings. Both of those are the same still. Infinite 2 ironclads. Infinite 2 steamers is new. Infinite 1 fort wagon. Army of the Andes, new. Cost 3 shipments. Ships 5 mounted grenadiers, 20 guard musketeers, and 3 horse artillery. It could probably honestly cost 2 shipments. But 2 or 3. I'm just going to leave it at 3 right now. It's probably be less, though. Gran Colombia. I know I said that wrong. New skirmishers gain combat promotions. What this translates to is basically total war or war with no quarter. Basically, after Chilean independence had been won, there was outlaws and Indians and or outlaws and like the Mapuche and like royalists who were hiding up in the hills, and they started the Patriots or whatever. The Patriots started a total war against them, where basically they would leave no survivors. So when they fought, they would kill everyone. No survivors, no captives, no nothing. So the idea being that they gain combat promotions because they're killing them. Amarga. I'm going to say it that way. Ships 5 prospector wagons, which can turn into silver mines. I'm not going to try to say it again, but that place is known for the silver mines. Decreto de Libre Comercio, which basically means free trade. Increases mill gather rates by 15%, and villagers slowly gather coin when tasked to mills. So during the California gold rush in that, Chile did a free trade, very free trade focus, and they sold lots of wheat and did really well there. So that's the idea for that. Chacabuco was a battle where it was ultimately the Indian was basically a hand-to-hand fight in which the Patriots won. So ranged infantry hand attack increased by 20%. Foreign weapons. This is going to be like the one card, or this card is basically like the idea being that after Chile was established and they already won their independence, in some wars afterwards, they bought foreign weapons. So foreign weapons, especially from Germany, foreign weapons cost 1,500 food, 1,500 coin. Increases ranged infantry's ranged attack by 50% because they're not like getting better upgraded or better trained or anything. They're just getting better weapons, and enables you to upgrade your cannons to Imperial because they bought German cannons. You could also add a card called like Prussian influence, and it could like maybe increase your infantry speed and hit points or something like that. But overall, I think this is a fairly good representation. Egypt. Egypt is one I'm very excited about because it's going to be a very unique revolt. I need to get another drink real quick. That feels better. Cards. Flood of the Nile. Oh, the units are all the same as they are now. Except Bashabuzuk is new to this revolt. But the Bashabuzuk is already a unit in the game, so that's why I said same as is now. Cards. Flow of the Nile, Suez Canal. State monopolies, new, increases the effectiveness of factories and trading posts, reduces settler gather rates from natural resources. So after the guy who basically this revolt is based off of, after he had like fully revolted and taken control of Egypt, he implemented state monopolies and stuff like that. So that's the idea behind that. Economic reforms. Costs 1,000 coins, ships 1 factory, and factory wagon, and increases your build limit by 1. So you'll be able to get 3 factory wagons, and state monopolies will increase their effectiveness of getting resources. So that's pretty cool. Cotton is a new card, increases factories' coin production. A lot of cotton production there happened in Egypt under his rule. Infinite, 16 cavalry fusiliers, infinite 1 fort wagon, infinite Egyptian fleet, infinite 2 horse artillery. That was already a thing for this revolt. Egyptian army reform. Change. Costs 1,000 coin, 1,500 coin, 1,500 wood. Cavite fusiliers become slower and lose their range multiplier versus Cav, but have their range and range damage increased. Minus 20% speed, minus 2x versus Cav, plus 2 range, plus 100% range attack. And they gain siege armor 10%. So this will... So basically they'll become the speed of musketeers. They'll still have the same HP as like revolutionaries have. And they'll still actually do the same damage versus Cav because, yeah, they're not having 2x versus Cav, but they have 100% more range damage, and they gain seated armor. So it's basically turning them to a... They're going to be better versus... They're going to be slower, but better versus, like, all units than they are now. Cost change to 50 coin. 50 food, 50 coin. Minute 4 Stratiots. Higher Gatling camels removed. Higher Askaris. Higher Sinar horsemen. 15 Sudanese allies. Libyan campaign. Costs 1,500 coin, 2 shipments, ships 15 Bashabuzuk, 10 guard janissaries, and 16 Cavite fusiliers. Albanian support ships 15 Bashabuzuk, and makes them only lose 25% HP. So Bashabuzuk will only lose down to 75%. So yeah, Sudanese regiments news enables Askari in the barracks for a cheaper cost. So your army will be like Cavite Fusiliers and Askari, and your economy will be very factory focused. Finland. I thought that was pretty unique and pretty fun. Man, we got a ways to go still. Finland delivers 4 frontier blockhouse wagons. Your settlers become Caroline Jaegers, which can gather from natural resources and build buildings. That's the same as they are now. Units, Caroline Jaegers, Finnish Lifeguard, and St. Petersburg Dragoons. Right now, it would be probably Caroline Jaegers, counter skirmishers, and counter dragoons. Stupidly. I hate those names. Caroline Jaegers, same as is now. Finnish Lifeguard, this will be a new unit. Completely, it's not going to be just a rework of the counter skirmisher. Let's see here. So we got infantry, light infantry, ranged infantry, gunpowder infantry, rifle infantry. Cost 70 food, 50 coin, very expensive. HP is 100, and it has 30% range resist, 4.25 speed. Its range attack has 20 range, 25 damage, 2x versus light cavalry, and 0.5x versus cavalry. So this unit will have a lot higher base damage, but it'll have a lower multiplier. So as you can see, even though it's like a skirmisher unit, it has no multiplier here versus heavy infantry, although you will be able to get 2x versus infantry with counter infantry rifling. So I think it's basically it's a different way to do the whole counter skirmisher thing. So it is not a counter skirmisher in that it has a 3x versus skirmishers, but it is a counter skirmisher in that it is just a skirmisher with higher damage but lower multipliers. So it'll do good damage versus other skirmishers, or better damage against other skirmishers than other skirmishers do. St. Petersburg Dragoon, Cavalry, Light Cavalry, Ranged Cavalry, Gunpowder Cavalry. Costs 80 food, 100 coin, 2 pop. HP is 200, 20% RR, 7 speed. Charged hand attack, so the St. Petersburg Dragoons, for Russia, unlike other Dragoons, Russia's Dragoons were very, like, the mainstay of their army. So, they were very into, like, cavalry charge and all that stuff using their Dragoons. And like their dragoons were made for like they did like partake in the main battle, and they were less just like skirmishing type units. So charged hand attack 40 damage 1.6 versus heavy cavalry 0.6 versus light infantry. Range attack will be 12 19.8 damage 3x versus heavy cavalry 2.25x versus handstock infantry 2x versus artillery 0.5 versus villagers. So it'll have a lower range attack than most dragoons, but it'll have a higher hand attack and a charged hand attack. So the hand attack will be 21.65 versus heavy cavalry, 1.2 versus handstock infantry, 0.6 versus light infantry. So it'll be a good bit like the Prince Chevaliers, but it won't just hit. But it'll have lower like hand attack than Prince Chevaliers, but a charged attack as well. So it'll be a unique unit. Cards: Team House of Romanov, Blockhouse Cannons, Allotment System, Strelet Horde. I'm not going to try to say that. Turku Academy, Infinite 8 Hackapellets, Infinite Baltic Fleet Gunboats, Cudgel War. Grand Duchy of Finland, changed, costs 2,000 food, 2,000 wood, 2,000 coin. Become the Grand Duchy of Finland, gaining new cards and losing others. Enables training settlers and fishing boats. Enables the training of settlers and fishing boats. Enables the training of St. Petersburg Dragoons instead of Hackapellets, and Finnish Lifeguards instead of Streltsy and Caroline Jaegers. So you'll get access to St. Petersburg Dragoons instead of any ranged cavalry. So not only Hackapellets, but cavalry archers as well for Russia. And Finnish Lifeguards will be replacing your any skirmisher units. Finn horses, Savalex Jaegers, all that's fine. All that'll be the same. But newly will be after, it'll be kind of like the French Revolution. So after you send the Grand Duchy of Finland, you'll get new cards. So you'll lose access to the allotment system. You'll lose access to Strelet Horde. Infinite 8 St. Petersburg Dragoons will replace Infinite 8 Hackapellets. Infinite 13 Lifeguards. Infinite 13 Finnish Lifeguards, that'll replace, that is just a new card. Gunboats, you'll still have Cudgel Wars, you'll lose. Armfeld's Autonomy, that'll be Blockhouse's build limit, +4, enables Imperial upgrades for infantry and cavalry. So, that's that. Infinite 1600 food, Infinite 1600 coin will be both removed. Infinite Finnish Taiga, Infinite 15 Elk, and all that will still be there. And Economic Theory is also new. So, basically, the idea being that when you first revolt, your economy will be relying on the Caroline Jaegers, but after like your second revolt, you'll gain access to like settlers and as well as some imperial infantry and cavalry. So that's the idea there. Take it as you will. And you'll lose access to the Caroline Jaegers, so you won't be able to build 99 settlers and 99 Caroline Jaegers. Don't worry about that. Gran Colombia ships 12 Llaneros and enables them in your stable instead of Hussars, Lancers, / Uhlans. Units: Llaneros, Soldados, Simon Bolivar, Ranger. Llanero, Cavalry, Heavy Cavalry, Hand Cavalry Lancer. Right now, this is basically a super cheap Lancer in the game. In the game right now, it's a super cheap Lancer, but I changed it to where it just replaces your Hand Cavalry. So it'll be like a mix between a Hussar and a Lancer. So it'll have less multipliers versus infantry than a Lancer does, but it'll have like higher HP or higher attack, that is, than a Lancer. So HP, so cost will be 200 food, 202 pop. Its HP will be 320, 20% RR, 7 speed. So it'll actually be slightly faster as well than Hussars and such. Hand attack, it'll use a lance, 25 damage, 2x versus infantry. Siege attack is 20. So it'll be kind of like the French, the Mexican Lancer unit, except that it'll not have any multipliers against heavy cav, and it'll also have a higher multiplier versus infantry. Soldado, same as is now. Simon Bolivar, same as is now. Ranger, same as is now. Land grab, new. This will also, Gran Colombia was very ranching focused, so they will also have a fairly focused, ranch focused economy. So land grab, ranching, stockyards, all those. Caballeros, so you'll be able to get your 3x on your Llaneros. That's the card that makes Lance units have another multiplier. Advanced stock removed, improved warship removed, naval gunners removed, advanced arsenal, Colombian Navy removed, infinite cattle drivers, Colombian Army removed. So I found it kind of lazy to have cards like Colombian Navy and Colombian Army that you ship those and enables like Imperial upgrades. Like that, like it seems weird to me to have those as cards thematically. Because that's like having a... How to say this? Like, imagine if Germany had a card that was called German Army, and it gave you access to Imperial upgrades in Age 4. Like, that's weird. Infinite 2 Horse Artillery replaces Infinite Gatlings. Infinite 2 Ironclads removed. Infinite Fort Wagon. Infinite 8 Soldados replaces Infinite 16 Independence Guards. So the Gran Colombia is actually losing access to the Independence Guard, which are the the musketeers that are like slower but have 10% more attack and hit points, as well as a multiplier against all cav at range. So you'll lose access to Independence Guards. I'm sorry, get over it. I couldn't find any historical reason for them being that. All I could find... The closest thing I found is that the model for the Independence Guards looks something like what some of the Gran Colombian units look like. So, Infinite Albion Legion replaces Infinite Albion Mercenary Legion. Ships 12 Guard Rangers. That was a thing. So, there was British soldiers in that helped with the revolution. National Hero Factory, 2 covered wagons. Campaign to liberate New Granada. New cost 2 shipments. Ships 12 Llaneros, 10 Soldados, and 10 Rangers. Enables conscription. As Lancers, ships 8 Llaneros. Enables you to ship Volvan Karas. I know I said that wrong. So this is going to be a new card that enables one other card. So that's kind of cool. Volvan Cross new enables the Frighten ability for your Llaneros, which lowers nearby enemies' damage and give your Llaneros a multiplier versus heavy cavalry. So this will turn them into a little bit closer to the Mexican one, as well as making them lower nearby enemy damage. Now you can research these, the Perez Lancers and the Volvan Cross, and you can probably see why I chose this design. Rearguards Assault new enables the Rearguards Assault ability, which locks your Soldados into melee mode and increases their speed. So basically this will be like the Caroline or Nizam Fusilier charged attack. They, you push that big button and they go real fast. So it'll be like that. But for soldados. These will only be age 4 soldados. I don't think I made anything that gave them 5, but whatever. Savers of My Fatherland enables Baker rifles and Rangers combat, increases their HP and damage by 10%. So you can ship that and it'll boost your Rangers with both of the British Ranger cards as well as increased HP and damage. Bogata. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. New enables you to build the capital and research certain capital texts. I'm not sure which ones yet, but I'd have to make sure to balance it. So that's Gran Colombia. Very Lancer focused and some British focus there as well as some fun Soldado thing. So, Haiti. Settlers become Maroons, which are weaker but cheaper revolutionaries. They're actually just lower HP, but more range, so whatever. Units, Maroons, Toussaint, Louverture, Polish Legionaries, Chasseurs. Maroons will be the same as they are now. Toussaint Louverture will be an American general, but he'll be like Bolivar and increase nearby units' attack. Although Bolivar's is increased nearby units' HP. Polish Legionaries is just an age 4 musketeers that lowers nearby units' damage by 2%. It doesn't stack. The reason for this, thematically, it was kind of interesting. I was trying to make a way to find a way to make the Polish Legionaries unique. I think Musketeer is the right choice. You could also make them like a skirmisher unit, but I went with Musketeers. But the idea being that the Polish Legionaries turned on like the French and the British, or not the British, the French, and even Polish legionaries that didn't turn on the French, like straight up, would like purposely not follow orders the French gave them. So that's why the 2% it lowers nearby units damage by 2%. Chasseurs is just a reskirmed Basileiri that are 4.5 speed instead of 5, but have increased attack and especially siege attack. So they'll have 10% more range attack and 100% more siege attack than the Basileiri, but they'll be 4.5 speed rather than 5. Cards, Naval Warrior Combat, improved warships, removed naval gunners, removed pickets, Sevites changed, all units slowly regenerate hit points. Mountain Forts replaces Infinite 1 Fort Wagon. Ships 1 Fort Wagon increases build limit by 3 and allows Maroons to build them for a cheaper cost. So Mountain Forts was a big thing during the revolt. Infinite 3 Falcons, Infinite 2 Covered Wagons removed, Infinite 15 Carat Blowgunners removed. Louverture's Labor replaces Louverture's Liberation. Ships 5 Citizens and enables you to train citizens for 70 food. Voodoo Ceremonies, Infinite 3 Privateers removed. USS General Green replaces Brethren of the Coast. Ships cost 500 coins. Ships 1 Imperial Frigate and enables improved warships and naval gunners. So the USS Green, this is kind of a fun thing. The USS Green did help Louverture with some fighting, so that's kind of fun. Letter of Marque removed. 24 Akan allies removed. African roots removed. World of Homets removed. So you might be like, why'd you just remove all the African influence? I didn't. I removed all these. I added new ones. Blood Brothers. Dowronmen. That's kind of funny. New Grants Maroons. So there's the way the Haitian Maroons and like army worked is they weren't split up via like they weren't split up as much via like status, but rather by which like African tribes they came from. So I have a card for each of the like African tribes, and each of them will give a unique bonus to your Maroons. So Dalronmen grants Maroons increased attack and speed, so plus 10% attack, plus 5 speed. Nago grants Maroons increased HP, 15%. Ebo grants Maroons increased HP and attack, 5%, 10%. Bisango grants Maroons increased speed, and Congo Maroons regenerate HP faster. So after you ship all these, your Maroons will be quite good. Very, very fast and just, I think, a fun unit overall. And Avant, let me actually put that in quotes. New infantry gain increased speed and HP when nearby ally units die. Plus 1% of both, up to 10%. This is going to be a completely new system that is not in the game at all. So basically, every time a unit dies, you get the other units, your other infantry gain more HP and speed. Up to 10%. After 10 units die, all your other units will have 10% more HP and 10% more speed. Kind of a fun reason for that is that was said when they were assaulting like a fortress, and basically all their friends were dying, and they yelled this, and they crawled over the friends and went on to take the fort eventually. Infinite, 16 Maroons, that's new. Infinite Polish Supporters, new. Ships 12 Polish Legionaries. Chassels Voluntarius D. St. Domingu. I'm sure I said that wrong. Ships 14 Chasseurs, enables Chasseurs to be trained. 2 St. Louverture, new. Ships 2 St. Louverture. Indigene Army, new. Prerequisites Chasseurs, Voltigeurs, and so this card is going to be unique in that it'll require the Chasseurs Voltaires here, as well as the... What did I click? I'm not sure what I did. As well as all of these, this 5, like, African tribe cards. So you'll ship all of those, and it'll enable Imperial upgrades for Maroons, Chasseurs, and upgrades your Polish Legionaries to Imperial. So Maroons will get pretty crazy. Peru. Maybe a bit too crazy, but that'll be after a lot of cards. And there's no cards for Haiti that give them, like, Imperial level economy, so I'm okay with Maroons being pretty strong after you send a bunch of cards. Man, I gotta drink more. My throat's getting tired. Peru. Simon Bolivar leads the cause. He grants 5% hit points to nearby units. Grants access to advanced warships. He doesn't. Doing the revolt does. Units Tupac Amaru, Simon Bolivar, Huraka, Plume Spearman, San Martin, Junin Hussar, Voltiker, Peruvian Guard, Morachuco, and Montenegro. So Peru was like the last, I think, of like those South American ones to be done. So that's why you have access to so many units. So let's get into that. Tupac Amaru, Simon Bolivar, the Huraka, the Plume Spearman, San Martin, and the Voltigar will be all the same as they are now. Junin Hussar, that's one of the new units. It'll be a Hussar that has a charged lance attack with a 1.3x versus cavalry, as well as its hand attack will be a 1.3x versus heavy cavalry. So it'll just be a Hussar with a charged lance attack, and it'll also be just straight up better versus other heavy cavalry. The reason for that being the famous battle they fought versus cavalry. Peruvian Guard is going to be a bit like the Independence Guard that I removed from Brazil, or from Gran Colombia, because I couldn't find the evidence. But Peruvian Guard is a thing. Right now, the Peruvian Guard in the game, you ship a card, and your revolutionaries become the Peruvian Guard, which they just become revolutionaries with a garbage siege attack, or like a special siege attack thingy. It's weird. I don't like them. Whatever. But I changed Peruvian Guard to basically just be Royal Guard Musketeers. So that's all those stats there. They're just Royal Guard Musketeers. Let me do this real quick. Morachuco, Cavalry, Light Cavalry, Ranged Cavalry. It'll be... I forget what this is now. Oh, okay. So it'll just be... it'll be like the... So Morachuco right now in the game is just an outlaw ranged cavalry guy. He shoots a pistol, and he's one pop and stuff. So I just changed him to be double that. I don't like the one pop units. So he's just going to be twice as good as he is now. Yeah. Although not quite twice as good, because excuse me, not quite twice as good because there's some, you know, there's like scaling. Being if a two pop unit that is exactly twice as good as a one pop unit is way better than twice as good. It's kind of a weird thing that happens there, but yeah. So he's not quite exactly twice as good, but I think he will be in general. 6 per second here. His unique ability is he gathers from herdables at a high rate, 6 per second. That could probably go up to 8. They're very like eat cattle person thing. So I'm going with that. Okay, Montenegro. So this is the unit. Like for Argentina, I had him set up, but I changed it to be this. So Montenegro, cavalry, heavy cavalry, hand cavalry. So it'll basically be a mounted version of the Insurgente. So it costs 100 food, 1 pop, HP 110, 10% HR, 6.75 speed, hand attack 15, siege 18. Abilities can be trained in batches of 10. Stats probably could be lowered a little bit, but yeah, I think they're not too bad. Cards: Monumental Architecture, Alpaca Wood, Infinite Cattle Drivers, Maruchucos, not 50. Same as it is now, but it'll give you 5 Maruchucos instead of 10. Infinite 16 Fat Llama, Infinite 6 Priestesses removed, Team Akalunkana removed. I know I said that wrong. Infinite 2 Horse Artillery replaces Infinite 4 Gatlings. Infinite 1 Ironclad and 2 Steamers replaces Infinite 2 Ironclads. Esmeralda, new. Ships 1 Imperial Mana War. I'm going to make this Imperial Frigate because it was a frigate. This is, they captured a Spanish frigate, so that's why. And gives your units a small multiplier against ships. So this is all units gain a small multiplier against ships. So infantry, other ships, cannons, horses, everything will have a 1.1 multiplier against ships. Peruvian Guard Legion replaces Peruvian Guard, costs 500 food, ships 10 Peruvian Guards, and transforms revolutionaries into them. So your revolutionaries, you ship this, and your this could probably be increased to like 1,000 coin. I'm actually gonna do that. That's a little too much right now. 1,000 coin, ships 10 Peruvian, and transforms revolutionaries into them. So if you have 99 villagers, you'll be able to revolt. They'll become 99 revolutionaries. You ship this for 1,000 coin, you get 10 more, and all your revolutionaries will become like Royal Guard. Oh, Royal Guard musketeers. The Cachua, there it is. It places American allies, ships 1 native embassy, and allies you to the Cachua. So that'll give you some nice upgrades there for like Rodaleras and just infantry speed in general. Machu Picchu removed. Monteneros replaces 33 Insurgentes, ships 30 Monteneros, and enables you to train them. That could probably be lessened to like 25, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Lima, Cusco, Tupac Amaru replaces Manco Inca. Manco Inca, as far as I found, I need to do a little more research in this. Tupac Amaru definitely, I think, fits better as this than Manco Inca. Manco Inca, like as far as I found, he's basically a puppet of the Spanish. Now, later on, he might have changed. I need to do a little more research on him, but Tupac Amaru just really fits here. Ships Tupac Amaru, Incan War Chief, 14 Harakas, and 15 Plebe Spearmen. So when Tupac Amaru revolted, the Tupac Amaru is actually a revolt that the Inca have, and it turns all your like Incan units into European units. But actually, when he revolted, Tupac Amaru, when he revolted, they used slings and spears because they did not have rights to own guns. So when they revolted, they had to resort to those. So, you know, take that as you will. But it'll ship Tupac Amaru 14 Harakas and 15 Plebe Spearmen. And you'll also, let's see. I think you'll still have access. I need to add the infinite 6 Harakas to this because that's going to stay in there. Hussars of Junin, new, ships 8 Hussars and upgrades Hussars to Junin Hussars. Voltigeurs of the Guard, ships 12 Skirmishers and upgrades Skirmishers to Voltigeurs. So that'll just give you, like, basically as good as the French ones. Ayachuco, Ayachuco, gunpowder infantry gain a small ranged attack bonus versus infantry. Enables division, armas a discretion da frente paso de vencedores. I know I butchered that so bad. Please correct me. That is so bad. I'm not even going to try to say that again. So basically, you ship this card, and you'll all your infantry will gain a small bonus versus other infantry. 1.1. So musketeers, skirmishers, ranged infantry. Musketeers, skirmishers. I forget all who has access to Peru, but anyone who does any infantry, small bonus. I don't think 1.1 is game breaking. It'll usually only add like 3 to 5 damage, I think. Maybe up to like 7 for certain units. And then after you ship that, you'll gain access to this, and that will enables the forward ability for gunpowder infantry, which for a short time increases their speed and attack speed. So it'll be another big button thing. You click that, and your infantry will all start attacking faster, and will start moving faster and attack faster for a short time. Liberating Expedition of Peru. New, costs 1,000 coins, ships 3 frigates, and 2 slopes. And that's it. That's as far as I got. What do you think? I think gameplay-wise, each of these is going to be fairly unique to each other. I think history-wise, I've done a fairly good job representing the revolts. I'm sure there's things that could be changed, things that aren't quite exactly correct. Things that could work better thematically, but I feel like I've done a fairly good job here. And I feel like I've made, like I said, each of them unique from each other. Haiti's very unique from Egypt. Peru's actually fairly unique from, like, not as much Argentina, or, Peru's going to be very infantry focused. Peru's going to be pretty different than Argentina. Chile's going to be very skirmisher focused. That's going to be fun. I would love to test that out, and all this stuff. And I think it's cool. Tell me what y'all think, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I will get gameplay out. Don't worry. But I had been working on this, so I just had to put it out there. So I hope y'all enjoyed, and let me know what you think. And I'll keep working on it, because even if this never becomes anything, I enjoy doing it. But if you would like to help, if you know how to mod, let me know. Hit me up on Discord. So I'll be seeing y'all. Goodbye.